Hello, I'm Jonathan Stanley with PC Specialists. We do computer services in Palm Coast, Florida, all types of different technologies, and we are teaching today a Windows class, and we teach every different version of the Windows operating system. Weather app, and I'm also going to start a game. Nice thing about it is that the programs do remember where you were. So let's say we had started playing, what do I need first? And I can't do anything. I'm just trying to make it look like I've started. Okay, so if you're in the middle of something like a game and you want to check the weather, for example, remember that start key or the start button on your device. You can just press that and then you can switch to the other app that you want to use. But if you get a bunch of apps going and you want to switch between, go maybe directly from one app to another, there's a what they call a gesture. It's a swipe motion. I'll try to illustrate it here. If you come in from, put your finger on the left edge frame of the screen and drag in, it will show you all of the apps that you've previously been running. So it's just, let me do it a second time.
I'm only getting the last.
Mine only gives me the last or splits my screen.
Okay, so the split screen we're going to cover. The last issue is it depends on how many Windows apps you've opened, and it doesn't have a very long memory, so it may only be showing you the very last one. Mm-hmm. But that could still be useful because what you could do is if you just pull in and keep on pulling, see that motion there? Mm-hmm. That will bring your last app up, and then you can switch between the two. So if you just bring it in. So it's just a nice, so there's weather, there's solitaire, there's internet. So it's just kind of, for me, since I had several running, it's toggling between the different programs that I had running. As far as the split screen, let me try to illustrate this one too. And this has been improved in version 8.1. There's some different, used to be you could only do like a 50-50 split, but in 8.1 you can split to different sizes. So if you bring in an app, let me try to bring in solitaire. If you start bringing in an app, see the black bar? Mm-hmm. A little bit difficult to see, but there's a black bar. That bar moves. As you move this around, that black bar will move to different spots. So in other words, if I dropped it here, it would put the solitaire game here. If I drop it over here, it puts it here. So you could actually have solitaire in one window and the weather in the other window at the same time. You can then grab that black bar either by touch or with your mouse by clicking and holding, and you can slide that bar to different positions. Like here's right in the middle, this is split screen. So if I let that go, now I've got it in split screen. And you can move it to the other side if you want to make solitaire take up most of the room, and then this would be for these particular apps, this would make the most sense because then you can actually play the game and look at the weather at the same time.
Well, is that an 8.1 technique?
That 8.0 could do it with apps, but it didn't have the multiple viewing. It could only do the split screen view. To me, that was very limited. I mean, that could be a reason right there to do the upgrade to 8.1, because a lot of apps just don't work well in that half screen view. It's something they're working on, they're trying to improve. People that have large screen monitors, if you have a touch system with a big screen, you can run up to I believe it's 4 apps simultaneously in different corners of the screen. So there's additional settings. On a smaller device like a laptop, you're kind of limited. But you don't have to run to me, it's almost just as easy, honestly, to just swipe in from the side to bring to switch in full screen view. So you're looking at your game here. Swipe, all you have to do is just swipe in. Then you've got weather. Swipe in.
So if you are bouncing between a lot of apps, is it possible to close any of those applications?
It is. There is a motion to do that, a gesture, and that is from top down. So you start with your finger on the frame from the very top and just pull all the way down the screen. Did that actually work?
Yeah.
So that is how that works. You can just swipe down. But again, you don't necessarily have to. The apps take up minimal memory, and Windows does a great job of managing the different apps that you're running. If you close the app, then chances are it's not going to remember where you were. Depends on the app. Some remember, some don't. By leaving it running, if you go to something else and come back to it, it'll be right where you left it. Okay, so some people ask me about, and I'm almost done here, just so you know, the last couple of topics, and then we'll do Q&A. Some people ask me about the control panel, how to get into things like setting up printers and making changes to the system. So there's two different control panels in Windows 8. This is kind of important to understand. If you're going to do anything with the settings of your device, one control panel, the Windows 8 version of the control panel, if you will, you get to by swiping in from the right edge of the screen. So we did those motions, you know, the different motions there. Here's another one. If you swipe in from the right edge, you will get a list down the side here. It probably is cropped off, it is. But there's choices here on the edge, and one of those choices is settings. It looks like a little gear. If you press that little gear, you will then have at the bottom a choice that says change PC settings. And these are what I would call the more basic settings, the simpler things, like for instance, if you want to set up a custom picture, a lot of times when you set up an account, it just uses the little default user picture. You can put your own picture in. You can change your background, like I did with mine. You can choose what images you want it to use. And there's other settings too. I'm just reading down through the list here. Things about the, setting time zones. Issues like if you travel and you're in a different time zone, you can go in here to change it. It's a really basic control panel though. This isn't really where all of the computer settings are. If you need to get into the real settings of the computer, if you go to your desktop, let me check, there's two ways on this, I'm going to make sure it's, okay. If you go to the desktop and swipe in from the right and go to settings again, just like I mentioned, there is a choice called control panel up at the top. Let me highlight that. Control panel right there. That control panel is the full control panel that you're probably used to if you've used an older Windows computer. And that's got all the settings for the entire computer. If you're not comfortable in here, then there's no reason to go in there. But people ask, how do I get to that control panel? Because if you go through that settings, go to change PC settings, you wind up with a whole different kind of control panel. So that's where that lives. Okay, sharing content. Let's say you're in an app and you're looking at a picture and you want to send that picture to someone. If you swipe in from the right, you will get a choice called share. I will illustrate here, share. And you can simply touch that share button, and whatever methods that are set up on your device, whether it's maybe set up to go through Facebook or through some type of social media app that you've installed, or even just email, whatever options are available on your device will show up when you press the share button, so you can easily share the screen or the content that you're looking at with other people. And that's a lot different than the way we used to do it with computers back in the good old days. You would have to take the picture, know where you've got it saved, and then you would have to go into your email and click attach with the paperclip and navigate down through to that folder and attach that photo and then send your message. So it was a process. Now you literally can just press a button, press another button, and your image is on its way. That's once you actually start getting some content saved in your device, photos for instance, it makes it much easier to share those with family and friends.
Where was the icon for share?
The share icon, you swipe in from the right, and it looks like a circle with 3 dots. Okay, now 2 other very brief things. I'm sorry I've talked so much. Shutting down the device. Most devices, not all of them, but most of them now are set to shut down simply by pressing the power button. So it's kind of like every other appliance you've ever had. If you're done with your TV, you press power and your TV turns off. And you come back in, press power, it turns on. For some reason, computers have always had this process, this counterintuitive process of having to click start in order to shut down the computer and then go through a menu and find shut down and are you sure and all this. Most devices now, not all but most, wherever you're at on the computer, you can just press the power button and it'll do a normal orderly shutdown. The reason I've shut down my device is because I just wanted to show you. There's a new type of, computers have always had mechanical hard drives for years now, for pretty much since the inception. They've used some type of mechanical device for storing the information. Mechanical devices are very slow. The new technology is on the market now called SSD, or solid state drive. It's a type of storage device that has no moving parts. And I just wanted to show you. So my device is completely off. This device has a solid state drive in it. And a lot of tablets, if you buy a tablet now, you're probably going to get a solid state drive already in it. But it makes the device very quick to turn on. So here, it's off now. I'm going to hit the power button. And just contrast this to just a few years ago, how long it would take your Windows computer, especially if you had an XP computer, it could take 2 or 3 minutes. You see the device is already on and ready to go. I can't even finish my sentence and the computer's already on and working. So if you have a Windows 8 computer and it is taking like a minute for it to get cranked up and ready to go, then that is something our company can do as a service, is put in a solid state drive into your device. And even if you're not interested in doing that now, down the road, that's a great upgrade for a device to make it, your computer faster again. So if you know how computers over time, they tend to get a little slower because they accumulate more stuff. We can put in an SSD, clone everything over to it, and make your device really, really fast. So that completes the presentation part of it, and I am very happy to answer any questions. I think we can all learn from each other by maybe covering some specific things. Yes?
I installed Office
Okay.
and I can't find it.
Okay. So it's going to be, I'm gonna look at your device specifically when we're done, because by having a straight tablet, it's a little bit different because of the not having a keyboard. And I don't know just off the top of my head how to tell you where Office is, but I think afterwards I can look at it with you and we're going to find it. Typically, just to answer it in a general way, typically it's going to be in that list of apps. So what may have happened is it may have installed, you may have got the app, but now you have to find it in that app list. And on a Windows 8 device, have you tried scrolling your screen all the way to the other side and see if it's at the very end of the list?
I did.
And it's not there. Okay, well, I'll look at it with you, and we'll see.
I'll look at it again in case it makes a line.
Okay. But that's on Windows. If it's a straight Windows 8 and not an 8.1, it's usually at the...
Do this. So my question is that when you were in the session, you asked a question about your My Favorites folder and how you're going to have to work with it now in Windows 8 because it's not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
So before, you used to take your documents that you had to pay, your bills you had to pay, and put them all in that folder.
Yes.
And then you would pay them from there.
Yes,
and
I
what-
made it very simple.
What did you kind of uncover now that you're going to do a little differently?
Well, it was frustrating me using the app that was on.
Yeah.
It was really frustrating me, and he taught me that if I went to my desktop instead and went in that way, that I could do the favorites thing like I was normally used to doing.
Right, so you don't really
And
have
so-
to change much, but
Yeah.
it just was not easy or at all obvious about how to find it.
No, I was so frustrated. So I'm really that's the one really great thing I got out of today. For
Okay,
sure.
super. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
All right, thanks.
So what did you learn in that Windows 8 class?
Well, Windows 8 is good stuff. I was a little hesitant when I first used it on a non-touch format, but now that I have experienced it on a tablet, on a touch tablet, I find it a lot better. One of the most important things I learned today from Jonathan was kind of like the organization of your icons and your apps and stuff, which was kind of a shortcoming for me. And, you know, it was a good class, very informative. He seemed to know his stuff. I love the history of Windows that he gave,
I love
so
that
I was
part.
very glad I came.
Cool. Anything that like you just could not find on your own, you just didn't know where it was hiding? Can you think of any particular? App or
Mainly just some questions. He made a good clarification between SkyDrive and Google Drive for me because I'm a Google person from way back. So, you know, it was good.
Nice, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan.
What did you learn today that's going to help you in your immediate day-to-day work?
How to find everything.
everything was in a different location, changed up. I've been playing in a lot of the apps, but I didn't know how to change everything over, make some adjustments. I like to personalize a lot of stuff, so he covered a lot of the tips on how to get things where I would be comfortable using them quickly. I, of course, running the business, don't have a lot of time to play with it, so it's easier to come to classes that you guys help put on to really help us kind of streamline what we're doing and get to where we need to be.
Terrific.
And so that's the best thing. And now I can go home and do stuff.
Thank you.